You know, I feel like Michael Bay felt like he really didn't have to try with this movie, so I'm not trying for this review. I'm wearing my pajama top and my hair's not done. Yeah, deal with it, Bay. So Six Underground is directed by Michael Bay and stars Ryan Reynolds and a group of other actors as six untraceable agents who are totally off the grid who have buried their pasts in order to change the future. Going into Six Underground, I was very on the fence because I was thinking, okay, this is a Netflix movie, which, you know, Netflix has had a pretty good run recently in the last year or so, but at the same time, this is Michael Bay, and I'm actually a pretty big Michael Bay defender, actually. My ultimate guilty pleasure movies of all time are the Transformers films, and overall, I feel like Michael Bay, although, yes, he's not the greatest storyteller, he is a pretty good visionary director, and I think that his choices within action are very entertaining and make for very fun movies. So going into Six Underground, I was very 50-50 as to how it was going to go, and coming out of it, I still don't quite know whether I should recommend this movie or not, but let's dive into it. First off, I'll talk about the cast, which is led by Ryan Reynolds, and Ryan Reynolds is basically going to be a producer on this movie. I'm not even sure if he's credited as a producer, but you know deep down he's going to be a producer in some way, shape, or form. Ryan Reynolds in this movie is just doing the typical Ryan Reynolds shtick that he does recently, where it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that Ryan Reynolds is bad in this movie. He just plays the typical smart aleck Deadpool kind of thing, which we've seen him play in a lot of different roles recently, like in Deadpool and also in Detective Pikachu and things like that. He just plays that typical, you know, smart aleck kind of character that we've seen him play a lot recently. So, you know, it's a very familiar Ryan Reynolds performance, but he's very good at it, so, you know, I guess there's no harm in that. And the rest of the cast are fine. I mean, I wasn't really familiar with any of the other cast. The only other cast member I knew was Ben Hardy, who I knew from he was in X-Men Apocalypse, and he was also in Bohemian Rhapsody last year, so I knew him, but the rest of the cast were fine, and again, they make for like a well-rounded group overall as like this task force. Oh, Corey Hawkins. I know Corey Hawkins as well. They do make for a well-rounded kind of vigilante task force, but the cast overall, I mean, this film isn't really an acting movie. This isn't a film where the actors are required to give in, you know, Oscar-worthy performances or anything like that, so, you know, with the material, they're fine. So let's talk about the big man, Michael Bay. This is the most Michael Bay movie that Michael Bay has ever made. I don't really know how to describe this film other than that. I mean, Michael Bay is literally just having a ball with this movie. You could just tell. Like, I remember seeing, like, the behind-the-scenes footage of this film when they were making it and, like, seeing, like, set videos and stuff, and I was like, yep, I know where this is going. And Michael Bay very much follows through. I mean, this is just him through and through. There are so many cliches in Michael Bay movies, from, you know, the Bayhem and the explosions and the overly sexualized women, the cars, it's all there in tow. You know, everything that you would expect from a Michael Bay movie that makes it a Michael Bay movie is full front here in this film. There are so many things that just explode for no reason. Particularly, there's a scene very early on, a very long, kind of drawn-out action sequence at the beginning, sort of a car chase, which is very entertaining. But there's a moment where, like, a truck just drives into what I think was a market stall that was selling fruit, and it just blew up as soon as it hit it, and I was like, yep, that's Michael Bay right there, and I just felt like that's what the entire movie's like. And Michael Bay, again, he knew what movie he wanted to make here. He knew what he was going to do. He was like, right, I'm going to Netflix, they're giving me full reign and a nice big budget to work with, let's make my Michael Bay movie, and that's exactly what he did. Now, I really don't want to focus too much on things like the technical aspects of the film, but I will particularly touch on the story. The story of this is very basic and it's very light. It's essentially about these, you know, 6 guys or 7 guys going around, and they are trying to remove a dictator from a country and replace him with his brother, who is not a dictator, so they can try and sort out that country. That's basically what the plot is. There's not much beyond that. It's basically a really simple plot that allows for really over-the-top action sequences, as most Michael Bay films are. And for me, Six Underground, this has this storyline which is so easy to follow and is so basic in its conception that you can watch this movie and just have it on in the background and never be lost in the story. And that could be a positive depending on what you're going into this movie for. If you want this movie just to be in the background as a movie that you don't really have to focus on, you know, say if you want to go on your phone while you watch it, you're never going to get lost with the story here. You're never going to be watching it thinking, what's going on? Who's that? What are they doing right now? You always know the basic outline of what the plot is going for. So with that, again, I don't really know whether to class that as a positive or a negative. Again, with this kind of movie, it depends what you're looking for. And of course, this being a Michael Bay movie, I will talk about the action sequences, which the action is very fun. I mean, the action sequences, While sometimes they do feel very empty because I didn't care about any of the characters or the story in this movie, the sequences alone, sort of just out of context, they do look really cool. Like when you watch the trailer for this film, for example, the scenes used within the trailer look really cool, and they are great here as well. Particularly if you watch this movie in 4K, it looks really nice. And I think the sequences themselves, they're fun, they're exciting, they're innovative in some ways, and I think that they do deliver a fun overall experience for the action side of it. And I think that, you know, if you're going into this movie to see fun action, that is what you will get. Overall, for me, Six Underground was kind of exactly what I thought it was going to be. I mean, it's a Michael Bay movie on Netflix with a fairly big budget that was able to just do whatever it wanted to do. It's a very basic movie with a very basic storyline that allows for these really over-the-top action sequences. And again, I said at the very beginning of this review, I don't know whether to recommend this movie or not. What I will say is that if you just want a really dumb action movie to just put on that you can kind of not fully focus on, you know, you don't want to fully engage with the movie, you just want to put something on, this is the perfect movie for that. Like, that's exactly what this movie's kind of made for, is just background entertainment. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm not saying that this is a movie that you shouldn't focus on. I mean, I watched this, you know, pretty fully engaged until sort of like the last hour where I was kind of checking out and doing other things. But I think that this film, you know, you can go either way with it. And depending on what you want with it, depending on what you want to get out of it, and depending on how you want to treat it, it will deliver an experience parallel to whatever you feel like you want to do with it. So I feel like Six Underground, again, it's a decent movie from Michael Bay. It's whatever you want to do with it. It's not particularly great, but at the end of the day, if you went into it thinking it was going to be great, I think that's kind of on you. So have you guys seen Six Underground? If you have, make sure to let me know all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let me know your thoughts down below. And as always, if you want to see more movie reviews and movie related videos just like this one, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss an upload from me. And I hope to see you guys again next time.